Today is Friday. Part of my menu plan, or lack of a menu plan, is Flip It Friday. That is breakfast for dinner. This is my husband. He does a lot of cooking. And it's unusual for me to be in the kitchen every evening of the week. So he's stepping up and doing what he loves to do. Breakfast for dinner. I'll show you what it is when we're done. I'm not going to make him perform. There we go. Sausages and potato O'Brien with eggs mixed in. It smells fantastic and I am hungry. Thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
Here it is Saturday. I'm putting together a cabbage soup. Come on down to the countertop. I was going through my fridge looking at things that need to be used up. So this cabbage needed to be used up. I'm going to use that to make some cabbage soup. I have the ground beef in the pot right now, and I'm going to dice up some vegetables while that is running. You just use whatever vegetables you like, whatever vegetables you have on hand for most soups. This will be celery, carrots, onions, green peppers, cabbage, and squash. I will be using stewed tomatoes and some of my tomato juice from the 2022 canning season, and I found a jar of 2023 that must have siphoned because there's no liquid in it. That's 2 medium small onions and a whole green pepper. I used 2 carrots and 2 stalks of celery. And I'm going to use at least half of this cabbage. Usually you can get past the yucky bits by peeling off the outer couple of leaves. And I think we're doing okay. We might have to cut some of that off. This one needs to come off, and I think we're done. I'll trim off the remaining bits. So this one has a bit of a mark. Oh, we might have to change our plan. Oh. I don't think I'm using the cabbage. So it's going to become a tomato vegetable soup instead. That runs all the way through. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. This one is a loss. I won't even give that to the chickens. That's going straight in the composter. Well, since the cabbage soup isn't going to happen, I have to shift gears. That's why I don't meal plan. I have to shift gears so often that it's just frustrating. So I'm going to make some chili. I considered making chili with my chili base, but instead I'm going to continue to use the tomato juice and the stewed tomatoes that I have out, and I'm going to have to find some beans and pull this together. I already have the beef and the tomatoes and onions, and I can put carrots and celery and green peppers in my chili, so I just have to pull it together now. Fly by the seat of my pants or pivot. Let's consider this a pivot. Since I already determined I'm going to use these tomatoes, I'm going to stick with it. So I'll use those tomatoes. I'm going to add a 6-bean blend, some black beans, and some chickpeas because we like a lot of beans in our chili. I'm going to be using chili powder, garlic powder. I do have minced garlic in the fridge. I can use both. Cumin, and I have this Cajun seasoning that is, the expiry date is January of 2024, so that it needs to be used up soon. I can use a tablespoon or 2 of that to help that move along. And then I have my peppers and onions and carrots and celery, the same as I was going to use in my soup. All right, now to throw this all together. Did you know if you rinse your beans, they're not as gassy. You just pour the can of beans or jar of beans into a strainer or sieve, and you run cold water over it until they stop bubbling. And then you don't have to put up with your husband's beans. I forgot to show you that I was putting in the celery and carrots and all the seasoning, but it's in there and it's ready to go. I just put in a lot of seasoning because we like it very flavorful. So for the size of this pot, I probably put in 2 tablespoons of that Cajun mix, and I put in maybe a half a teaspoon of the chili powder, teaspoon of cumin, lots. We like our chili very flavorful. There are lots of recipes for chili and everybody makes it their own way, and this is not a secret recipe by any means. This is just kind of winging it. This is using products out of the pantry. I have 5 carrots in my fridge. I use 2 of them. I have a stalk of celery that's been there since Christmas. I use 2 stalks. I have ground beef because we have a lot of ground beef and it's just grocery store ground beef. And then the seasoning. I have a bag of onions that is starting to go soft, and I just bought the green peppers the other day. Okay, my carrots have softened. I'm putting in the onion and green pepper, and I'm going to put in my beans, and there are a lot of beans, 3 cans. Okay, a pint of stewed tomatoes from 2022. This would have been a pint and a half, but because there's no liquid in it, it's not much more than a pint. Of 2023. And I don't know if I'm putting in the jar of tomato juice or not. We'll have to wait and see. There's a lot of liquid in there. I probably don't need to put the juice in. I might want to put some tomato paste in there though, or tomato sauce. Heck, I have a lot of 2022 plain tomato sauce. I can put that in. Jar of plain sauce from 2022. Let's use that up. I do have tomato powder, which is from the skins of the tomatoes that I dehydrated, and that works as a great thickener. I also have tomato paste. I'm going to wait and see what this needs later at the end. So for now, this is just going to get turned down, and we'll let it simmer. That's basically all there is to it. I just decided I'm going to save my jars that I used during the month of January in some flats so that at the end of the month I can see how much I really used. It's a good way to track. I'll keep the lids too so that I can tell whether I used tomato sauce or whole tomatoes, and that might help me plan for my next canning season. Gotta do something because right now I'm flying by the seat of my pants and I need a little bit more planning. This might help. So this has been simmering now for about half an hour, and it looks like dinner is ready. I didn't have to add any more liquid. I didn't have to add any thickeners. It worked out just perfectly. This is how thick we like it. It's more like a good chunky stew. Of course I have to taste it. I could have put corn in this, but with so many beans, I don't think corn's necessary. This would be wonderful with some cornbread. Dan's not a fan, but I am. I just didn't feel like bothering to do it just for myself. Let's give this a whirl. It is quite tasty. I can really taste the cumin, but it could use more chili and more garlic. I'm going to tweak this and we're going to have our dinner. Catch you tomorrow.